Welcome into the CatCast. This is your host, Cat Kinnison, here as always to give you a fantastic podcast today. Looking forward to talking to everybody. Looking forward to being locked and loaded. Got the armrest up in the lock position, and we're ready to start this baby. We'll see if a kitty shows up or not, but if they don't, that's all fine. But welcome to today's podcast, viewers, listeners. Glad to have you in today. And if you're watching, you can see I have a different pin on today. It is a drum set pin because I used to play the drums. And I had a drum set. I had a pearl, a 5-piece. It was red. And I was a snare drummer in my freshman year in high school, and then I went to the bass drum, the third to the biggest, and then I had the biggest drum my junior year. My senior year, I graduated a semester early, and the way band worked, I couldn't really be in band because it would go to the next concert, and I wouldn't really be a part of it, so I couldn't take band the last year, but I love music, as most of you know, and so I'm wearing that pin today just to have a different look. I like to change up the pins. I might run out of pins, I only have so many. So, anyways, we've got some great stuff to talk about today. This was not a planned topic, but again, had more issues on the CB. And I thought, well, this is a great topic to talk about. So a particular person yesterday got kicked out of the channel, a 24-hour ban, basically. And I wasn't there for it. I just hear about it the next day from people that were there. From admins and from some witnesses. So I took the person off the ban before the 24 hours was up because it just seemed like the person had become a little too intoxicated maybe, and that's why they were a little bit out of line. And I thought, well, they should be fine now today. And but the person was still upset about it. And so I tried to make it better by going to talk to the person and to resolve it. And even the particular admin that had kicked him out went and tried to apologize. But they have a thing on there where you can blacklist somebody, and if you do that, they can't hear you and you can't hear them. It's just dead when they talk. And this person was pretty upset, so they had that person blacklisted. So the message had to be relayed by another person to this person because they didn't even want to take the person off blacklist that was trying to apologize or find out what the issue was. So it didn't necessarily get rectified. Now, I myself got a little heated because I believe if somebody is contrite and wants to apologize, you should at least listen to it. Now, I can understand not wanting to accept an apology, but if you don't even hear the apology, that's the issue I have. I think you should at least give the person the ability to hear what you have to say from your own voice, than rather than having other people trying to relay a message. Because then you can tell if the person is sincere sounding in their voice, or if you think it sounds like a lame apology. This person did not want to do that. So, we ended up going to a different channel then. We thought, okay, there is no resolving this. But then I get told that they want me to come back down. So I go back down to find out. But they wanted me to, I guess, go on after I had said something like, I still think you should give a person the chance for forgiveness, if you won't even listen to the person. I have a real problem with that. Now, I can understand some things. I would just say death, rape, things like that are things maybe you don't ever want to hear an apology from somebody. But when it's just a person you've never met before and you just talk, it amazes me how a person gets more upset over words than, these people have had no physical contact. They just know each other on an application where you talk to each other. And I understand people can say very mean things. I myself have been under attack, and people have said very, very mean things. But I don't, I still will forgive people. And maybe that's just a quality of me. But it makes me sad that, like I said, it's not that the person wouldn't forget, it's that they wouldn't even listen to the person's apology or try to even resolve the issue. It's like they don't want it to be resolved, no matter what, And that means that they won't accept that a person has changed or rehabilitated or anything. If you have that kind of opinion, then and that's not helpful, because then a person feels like, well, what do I have to do then if I can't try to resolve things, and you're always gonna treat me badly? I don't understand that. Like I said, people change, and you should give a person a chance, And the person said they had given this person several chances, but I'm like, well, people can have a new lead. Again, my issue was that they weren't even willing to listen, and I'll continue to say that was what bothered me about it the most. Because yesterday, when somebody was upset with me, I listened. I believe you should let the person tell you. And if you can resolve it, you try to resolve it. But you won't always be able to, because it takes two to resolve an issue. And if one of those people downright refuses, there's nothing you can do. And that's basically where we were today with the issue, which had me very upset. Because I believe you should try to resolve issues. Holding grudges and keeping things like that, it's not beneficial to you. That person's going to have, this thing always, because he's still going to be on the app. There'll still be interactions. For the person to think there's just not going to be interactions, the other channel is a very frequented channel by a lot of the listeners that are on my channel. Go to that channel and back and forth. It's like... So to do this kind of stuff, it's just not constructive, in my opinion. And you don't like being blacklisted because you don't get to hear half the conversation. It's it's annoying. It's just not a constructive way to resolve disagreements. In fact, it builds more resentment, I've found, when people do this. Now, some people think, well, if they can't stand the person, they should, and I understand that. But again, I'm like, it's just going to cause more issues. It'd be better to, if you can't handle that person, leave, come back later when they're gone. That's kind of what I think you should do. Or grow more patience, You can't ask the Lord for patience. That's what I've been told, and I looked it up, and it's true, because that basically means, I can't wait for it, Lord. Can you please help me wait more? No, that's like a test. You have to be able to wait and have patience. And so I'm going to have patience with this individual, but it's difficult for me because they don't want to forgive somebody. They want to hold a grudge forever. And I just don't agree with that kind of, like I said, there are certain, death, somebody kills somebody, somebody rapes somebody, I can understand never wanting to forgive that person. But for just verbal stuff, I have an issue with it. When it's not physical harm, I have an issue with it because people can say very mean things, and they don't always mean them. They're just saying mean things for a variety of reasons. Whether it could be to hurt you, it could be it's mainly usually to hurt you if they're saying something mean, but there are other reasons. I'm just going to say there are other reasons, other factors sometimes, and people can change, and to not if you never want to forgive somebody for doing something, then they should be able to do the same thing to you then. Meaning they're not going to forgive you. And I just think that's a very negative way to look at something because we all make mistakes. And anybody that thinks they don't is, I just don't, we all make them. I've made many mistakes. And when I do, I try to rectify the mistakes I make. Because we're not perfect. But if you don't even own up to things, you're just, I don't know. I know something went down because my admins would not just kick somebody out for no reason. So somebody did something, and everything was going along just fine, from what I've heard from the witnesses. Other people were talking. These two people weren't even engaged, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the person freaked out on the one person and then blacklisted them, and then they were trying to resolve the issue, and he gets booted out. But if he wouldn't have went off on somebody, then there would have probably been no booting. If he would have just done a blacklist, the other people would have said, "Hey, you got to take that person off blacklist because they're an admin." And he says he didn't know. Well, then they tell you, and you just take them off. Then it's no problem. So I don't know if there was a delay in doing that, or if the person just didn't want to take them off, or I had to change admins because one of them resigned, basically quit, and so this particular person is a good friend of mine that used to be an admin for me before I changed the channel name, and I know they're a good person, and so I take that into account as well. But I'm willing to listen to the person that had the issue with my admin, but they were unwilling to say what the person had done, and it sounds like it was pretty much from the past. And the other thing that the person was upset about was getting the boot. But again, it was a 24-hour ban, and I took them off early in the afternoon, and it was way before the 24 hours was up. So I had removed them early after hearing the situation where it sounded like the person was just a little inebriated. And then, but they don't want to take any of the blame, and they don't even want to talk to the other person that's willing to apologize and try to bury the hatchet. And it comes back to them just being upset about getting banned. But again, if they wouldn't have started the attack on someone, there would have been no 24-hour ban that I released early. So it difficult situation. And I thought it was very big, like the bigger person of my admin, to try to work it out with the other person and go down to another channel and have the owner of that channel relaying the messages because the person refused to take the person off the blacklist so they could at least hear what they had to say. That is, like I said, that's a person that just doesn't want to accept or even hear an apology, whether, and I related it to somebody with TDS. So how do you remedy a situation where the person won't listen to anything you say, they won't tell you what's bothering them, and no matter what you say or do, they already have made up their judgment and they're stuck to it? How do you even do anything with that? I mean, basically, there's nothing you can do at that point. So it's like, why even talk about it anymore? The person's not willing to do what is necessary to rectify it, they're in the wrong, in my opinion. When the other person comes and says, I want to try to fix it, and you refuse to even try, like most people with TDS, they would not even ever come around to listen to anything Trump says and believing it and taking it sincerely. They just won't. And that's why I compared it to this situation, because this person is not willing to listen, and they're not willing to tell you what the person did wrong. It's all about getting kicked out. Well, how do I rectify that? That's done, been done. I apologized for it, and I restored them before the 24 was even up. But how can I go now retroactively and fix that for that person? How do I do that? I can't go back in time and make sure I'm there for it and make sure he doesn't get banned. What is he asking me to do if that's the main issue? All I can do is apologize about it. That's it. I don't know how else to, because I can't go back now and change what happened. But the person's stuck on that. That's all they're bringing up. And they don't bring up anything else of why the whole argument, because before that, an argument started. But from what I've heard, my admin did not engage in that person. That person just came out of nowhere. And then I hear something about a handle change, about, he's changed his handle. Well, this particular person does change their handle quite often, but their voice is unmistakable, okay? And like I said, if you were getting along with somebody perfectly until you found out, it's that person, and then you freak out because of something that happened months ago, I mean, that's what Cat thinks happened. And I'm pretty good at diagnosing things. I'm pretty sure he finally realized who my admin was and that they had a tiff or what some time ago. And now he's all mad. Blacklist him, But everything was all good. They were talking earlier. Everything's all good. Until a switch flipped. And he realized who that person was. And then now he's mad at him. Even though they were getting along just fine. Which shows that the person has changed. And they're not out trying to make waves. And I know this for a fact because this person has been sending all kinds of private messages letting me know how much they don't want to step on toes. They want to just flow right in and just do like they're supposed to and not try to rough anything up and just want to just be part of the scene without making a bump, And I know that's what the person wants because I know the person. And it showed me big time when they went down and tried to rectify the situation with the user. So I feel really secure in what I did. I mean, really secure. And the admins I have now are all on the same page. Basically set up a group thing now so everybody knows what's going on, which is like the best. And nobody has a problem talking with anybody. And the channel seems to be working extremely well. And so I think everything's going great. But some people just don't like change, even though change can be good. People are really, set on having things the same. And I like things to be the same too. But if there are issues and problems, then we have to work on them. We have to resolve the issues. And if a person's not willing to work with me, then I can't work with them. And I'll always be that way. And I think that's how Solomon was too. I really do. I think that the person that's willing to put forth the effort is the person that I'm going to deal with. And I hope both people do. And then it's going to be the best outcome. But when people don't want to work with me, then I have no... there's nothing I can do then. You can't mediate unless people are willing to let you mediate. Some people just aren't willing to accept mediation. because they don't want their minds to be changed. And it's a sad thing, but it's very much like TDS. So it's a psychology thing for sure in people's minds, and you can trigger somebody to a point where they're really mad at you just with words. And I find it quite amazing that the words are so powerful nowadays, when it always used to be the fists. The fisticuffs was when you were actually being hurt. So it's a tough one. Like I said, I would never force someone to accept an apology. I would never force that. But I do think you should at least hear the apology. That's my main point here. You need to at least hear the apology and weigh it with sincerity and know, and then decide. You should never just go in, I don't care what this person says, no matter what, I'm not going to forget. Why? You should listen with an open heart and see what makes the most sense. Do they sound contrite? Do they sound really sorry? Do you hear it in their voice? Are they trying to make better? Are they trying to make amends? Is it just fake or is it real? You can't tell unless you hear it for yourself. I'm pretty good at judging if a person is sincere or not. Now, a good actor sure can fool me. Alec Baldwin could fool me. But most people aren't great actors. The average person, not that good at acting. So you can tell if they mean it or not. At least Kat can. And like I said, you don't have to accept it, but you gotta at least hear it. Charlie Kirk's widow forgave someone that shot her husband, her kid's dad, and she forgave him. If she can forgive somebody for killing, then I don't know why other people can't forgive somebody for just saying something. It's a really messed up world now, where words are the most destructive thing, and people are like wanting to censor everybody and stop them from speaking freely. That's a scary thing, actually. And these people just think that they want censorship. It's like, you don't want that. You don't want it. And all you got to do is read 1984 by George Orwell, and you'll know what I'm talking about. They'll tell you something one day, and the next day they'll tell you something totally opposite. And you'll forget halfway through the day that they even told you the thing the other day. But the propaganda will just be all over the place. You won't know what's true if they censor. You won't know. They'll be able to tell you exactly what they want you to hear, and that's all. That's how it will work. Anything else will be, fake. We can't have that out there. But who decides? See, that's the issue. That's the problem right now. Even if AI, you look at the AI, and it always comes back with liberal responses on things, So you can't trust it for a lot of information. It's not trustworthy. So, all right, how we doing? Oh, we're almost out of time. Can't believe I was able to fill that whole segment, but I had a lot to say about it. A lot of stuff going on the CBA channel, But gives something for Kat to do. Gives me something to talk about. And I hope I'm making a difference. I really do. Some other people commented that they've been really liking the ones that are about CB stuff. So that's why I felt pretty good about doing another one about this. Because it helps people at least understand my thought process in how to keep things cohesive. And, that's all I'm trying to do is make a fun place that people can hang out and feel safe. But it's harder than it looks. It's really hard. You're dealing with so many personalities, and but it's not a perfect process by far. But I keep working at to be unbiased as possible and judge each situation on its merits every time. I like to hear what people say and take that in and evaluate it before I decide things. The more information you get, the better informed you are about making the decision. The only other things we were going to mention today, the Virginia Attorney General that's running, the Democrat, Jones, he said some really bad stuff about the opponent, that he would like his opponent, not his opponent, but the other person, I think, and maybe it is his opponent. Anyways, about actually wanting to shoot him, and even some bad stuff about his kids. But the Democrats are still behind him because the guy did apologize, but it's such an egregious offense. It makes you wonder if that person is going to be unbiased when they make decisions. And when somebody is like joking around like that, because I do believe he was joking around, he did some LOLs and stuff. But you wonder about their mind, how their mind works, because I would never joke around about that kind of stuff. These are people just like me. They have different beliefs and policies, but they have families, and I can't believe somebody would say something like that. And the other person told Jones to stop, and that's when he said LOL instead of saying like, "You're right, I'm sorry." He says LOL. I think that is something that is worthy to be talked about more, because they want to kick out Republicans for any little thing. And this seems like a really big thing, but they're just like, it's no big deal. And I'm like, it is kind of a big deal. So I don't trust that person to be unbiased when they have those kind of text messages. And I guess he actually knew the children and stuff, and to just say that kind of vile stuff to me is unworthy of a candidate, even if it's from a few years ago, because I just don't trust him now. Venezuela, it looks like we're going in there. Maduro's out. The government they're trying to get a hold of us now, but we already had our helicopters like right outside their country, so it may be too late for them to make us a deal with us. But yeah, it looks like we're going to take care of that issue, which that's good. Got to get that one taken care of. It's been too long. And the last thing we'll talk about, A.O.C. is talking about the toxic masculinity, and that they brought in this new masculinity that's bad, and that there used to be some different masculinity that was good or something. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Because I don't understand any of it. There's only been one masculinity, so I think she's just making stuff up. She talks about race and gender, and I'm like, masculinity has nothing to do with race or gender. Masculinity has to do with how a man feels about protecting his lady, his home, his children, his property, his rights. That's a masculine man. A man that's going to defend his lady, defend his homestead, believes in, I don't know what they're talking about. What is toxic masculinity? They need to explain exactly what they mean. They can't just say, oh, it's to do with race and gender. Like, how were we treating them bad exactly? What is toxic about our masculinity? They need to be more specific, because they generalize way too much, and that's the issue that a lot of people have. We don't even understand what they are saying. They're so saying things that don't make sense. How is the masculinity different? Back in the day, people were more bigots than they are now. So I'm not sure how she's saying that we've changed it and made it bad. We're less bigoted, we're less racist, we're less sexist than we've ever been in our lives. I can't imagine us at a time when we've been less, and she still thinks we're awful. I don't get AOC. I don't. And it looks like she's the leader of the party along with Bernie Sanders. So that's what we get to look forward to. It's going to be interesting. Like I said, you need to question, though, some of the stuff she says. You need to question it, and, because some of it seems whack. All right, we're out of time. This has been another great Cat Cast. This is Cat Kennison. Loving you guys hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. Sorry that Kitty didn't show up today, but can't be here all the time. You know how it is with the kitties. They show when they show. If they're not here, they're not here. But we miss them. I don't miss you guys, though. We will see you tomorrow for another fantastic Cat Cast. This is Cat Kennison. We'll see you tomorrow. Cha-cha. Out.